Hello everybody, I am Sarah Banks from Banks' Business Solutions, and I am excited today because it is 3 years since GDPR came into force. I'm sure that many of you remember all of the stress and tension and the work that had to go into being ready for GDPR on the 25th of May 2018. Well, now we're 3 years on. And it still remains as important today that you are reviewing your GDPR compliance as it did back in 2018. So in today's video, I want to talk to you about some of the jargon around GDPR because I know from talking to clients recently that this is something that's still confusing a lot of people. So I'm going to start off with kind of defining the different regulations and what those acronym letters mean. Then I'm going to take you through some of the different roles and different types of data and lawful processes. So hopefully you'll stay with me. This will make sense, but if you have got any questions, please put them in the comments beneath the video. So GDPR. Some of us came up with all sorts of different definitions for this back in 2018, but the official one is General Data Protection Regulation, and this has come from the EU. Now in the UK, there isn't actually a law or a regulation called GDPR. What we have in the UK is the Data Protection Act, and this is the UK version of GDPR. And it is the same as GDPR, and it covers the data of UK citizens, but you still need to know about GDPR because that covers EU citizens. And if you are working with EU citizens or your website is available for people in EU countries, you still need to be complying with GDPR, but also be aware of the Data Protection Act in the UK, which at the moment, as I said, is the same, but could change in the future. Then the other acronym that sometimes you will hear in relation to this is PECR. Now this is the Privacy and Electronic Communication Regulation, and this is the regulation that covers direct marketing. So when we look at GDPR, that's about all the data within your business. And a lot of people get confused by that and just look at marketing data. Marketing data kind of sits across both GDPR and PECR, so you do need to be aware of that as well. Now, if that hasn't blown your mind, I'm going to move on to talk about roles within GDPR. We have 3 parties defined within GDPR, and I'm going to use GDPR rather than the Data Protection Act because that's what you're familiar with, and the same applies to both. So the first party is the data controller. That's you. You are responsible for determining the data that you collect in your business, how it's processed, and deciding why you're processing that data. The second party is the data subject, and that's the person that the data refers to. So, for example, if you're storing my name and email address in your database somewhere, you're the data controller, I'm the data subject. And then the third party is called a data processor. Now, this can be a person. So, for example, if you're working with me as your VA, then I would be a third-party data processor for your business. And also, if you put your data into a mailing system such as MailChimp, MailerLite, ActiveCampaign, they are also a third-party data processor. So that kind of defines those roles, and there's lots of things you need to know about how those roles work together and how you contract, and there is another video that I've done on that. Now I want to talk about types of data, and this is where sometimes people get confused. Now, any data that identifies a living individual is personal data. That could be name, email address, date of birth, phone number, postal address, anything like that. But it also includes things like whether I'm male or female, whether I'm married, unmarried, what my religion is, what my race is, my sexual orientation, my political views. Now, these types of information actually sit under special category data because they're more sensitive, and therefore there are additional things that you need to do with data of that nature in order to protect it. And that's where we then come on to the lawful basis for processing data. Every piece of information that you collect on a data subject, you need to have a reason for collecting that, and it has to be lawful. Now, for personal data, there are 6 lawful bases. For special category data, there are additional ones that you also have to fulfill. The ones that I'm going to talk about are the ones that you're most likely to have, so consent. That's where I've come along to your website, I've said, yep, I really want to receive your newsletter, yes please, send it me, email me. I've given you consent to hold my data and use it to contact me. Contract. this is where you're holding my data because we're working together for some reason. So whilst we're under contract, you can use that lawful basis to store my data and use my data to contact me. And the third one that you're most likely to use is legal obligation. And this is where you retain data beyond the point that someone has given consent or beyond the end of a contract because you're required to by law. Now, usually for small business owners, this is because your insurance requires you to keep records for a fixed period of time, or because you have financial obligations. So they're the three main ones that you're most likely to be using. There are three others. They are vital interests, public task, and legitimate interest, which you can go and look up on the ICO website. I hope that this really quick whirlwind video of definitions and trying to explain some of the jargon around GDPR has been useful. I can't go into everything in this video, but if you would like to know more, please get in touch, book a free consultation with me. I'd love to have a chat with you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon.